there, it's Jen, and I am here today to share with you my 2014 albums. I just thought it'd be fun to do kind of a wrap-up of the year's worth of layouts, and so I actually have two albums. This might end up being two videos. I just thought it'd be fun to do a quick flip through my album. I can show you how I store my layouts now, and excuse me. Also, I just started doing videos in October, so there are a bunch of layouts in here that you haven't seen, so I thought it'd just be fun to go through them, and I hope that some of you will maybe share some of your favorite layouts from this year, or maybe an album share as well, because I'd love to see it. So, without further ado, I store my albums in these We Are Memory Keepers Greige albums, which I love. That's a faux leather, and then it has like a little book plate on the side. I haven't put the year in here yet. Like I said, I have two albums full, and I haven't scrapbooked all the photos for this year, so I'll probably have a third one eventually, but for now, anyway. So, I don't do a title page or anything. I think I talked in a previous video, I do like the Close to My Heart page protectors the best. They're just nice and thick and sturdy, which I like especially for mixed media heavy pages like this one. So this is a page that I shared in like my favorite page of all time. It was a Throwback Thursday video that I did. And that's the opening of this album, which I kind of love. I did it on January 2nd, so it was perfect. So there's that. And then I just have, so I don't scrapbook chronologically, but I store my albums chronologically. So obviously all of my 2014 album, they're layouts from this year, so they're pretty current. But I do have some layouts that I did this year that are from like 2007 or 2012 that I go back and put into those albums. So just kind of an FYI that this was a fun one. I hope I am showing you if you can see them. So that's a bunch of Dear Lizzie. I love that paper. I love cutting out flowers. And this is empty. It'll eventually get filled, I'm sure. And this one. So this is before I subscribed to any kit clubs, so this is just made with stuff from my stash. And I was just playing around with some different color schemes and different layering. My daughter loves Legos, and her birthday's in January, so we made a trip to the Lego store. That's my grandma. She's so funny. I love my grandma. Another one where I cut out a bunch of, this is a Maggie Holmes paper. And also, let me show you my favorite washi tape of all time. I don't know who makes it, if it's Freckled Fawn maybe. It's like a white, it's clear and a really light gray, so it just adds a really subtle touch. I don't know if you can really see that. I love that washi tape. I should use it more often. I used it here too. So I really like that page, the way that one turned out. And I love these letters from, I think those are Heidi Swapp. I just really like, you can tell from my style that most of my photos are most of my pages are one photo, and I like to do a lot of layers. So, and I love doing strips along the sides or the tops of my layouts. I love this one where the vellum just overlaps a little bit. I don't know. I really like the way this one turned out too. This was my first Scraptastic kit, so I was having fun playing with that. And this again. So I think I started subscribing in April, and so I was scrapping some March photos. Love that one of my niece. That picture of my niece and my daughter is so cute. And then this one. This one is not complete, and there will be probably several more pages to go along with this. My friend made a CD, and she asked me to be a part of it, and I sing on the CD. It's like a gospel CD. Anyway, so I want to write a ton about that, but this is just kind of like an introduction page to that. So the back of it is just empty. And I did gut this page because the back, this Maggie Holmes paper, this floral, is just divine. So I have that floating around in my scraps somewhere. This is my little nephew Porter, who has cerebral palsy, and on March 29th it was Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day and we wore green, and so I did my layout all in green. That was fun to get some of my green stash used up. This is another one from my Scraptastic kit. I can't decide how I feel about this page. I tried to make it look, I rolled the paper back so you could, so this is the front side and this is the back side. She was trying to make it look like curtains too, like, because she was doing a little puppet show. I don't know. It's okay. This is my other favorite washi tape. Nicole Jones turned me onto this washi tape. It's just from Michaels. It's like a little film strip. I love that washi tape. This one, I love this this layout. I might scrapbook this for myself for using up a bunch of tags. These are some Dear Lizzie tags, and I just love the way that they look all lined up. And then I stitched them down rather than like thread them, or I just think I like the way that turned out. This one is a fun one. Me and my husband are kind of, we know the ins and outs of every single episode of The Office. We watched it when it was on. We have all of the seasons on DVD. We still watch them on Netflix sometimes and on DVD. Anyway, we love The Office. And so these are just like pictures I got off the internet about The Office, and then I put like some of our favorite quotes, like, "I'm Date Mike, nice to meet me. The worst part about prison was the Dementors." Anyway, just, we love The Office, so that's what that's about. And I used a bunch of Office-y kind of stuff, so like this little memo, and then I used the film strip washi tape because it's a TV show, and then I used my notebook punch and the cork. And so this was a really fun layout to create. And this is a good way to do a multi-photo layout where things aren't lined up. You can do like I like how there's kind of 3 different clusters. They're all tied to the side, so they're not floating. And I just really like the way that one turned out. This one, Across from It, on the other hand, I do not love at all. I kind of hate it, but it's done and it's there. I just don't like, I tried to make the background look a little bit like snow with some white paint, and it just looks ugly, but that's okay. You win some, you lose some. And I cut out flowers again. I do that a lot. I hope you're seeing these pages. It's kind of hard. Okay, so this was a fun one where I took a bunch of silhouette die, like cuts, and I layered them together and kind of made a loose grid. So you could replace some of these with photos if you wanted to, instead of doing them all different like die cuts and papers. You could do more photos if you wanted to. And I really like the way this one turned out. This is from a Scraptastic kit as well. This is a more recent one. I do have a process video on this one. And this is all silhouette cut. It's really simple with a huge photo and a little bit of clustering. So that one's really simple. This is another recent one with a Scraptastic kit. There's a process video on that. So that was a fun one. This is from a Scraptastic kit also. This is, I just put a bunch of strips together and then made a little cluster out to the side. So this is another way I like to do my layouts, is kind of an L shape. And sometimes it's more defined than others, but I do definitely, when I do columns, I tend to go out to the other side of it. So that's just something I noticed looking through my layouts. But I think it's a good idea to every once in a while just look through your pages and kind of notice what your go-tos are, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it might not be helpful, but it's fun. This is another Scraptastic kit layout. Again, this is before I started doing process videos, so I used a large photo. I really love using large photos and then just clustering embellishments on the other side of it. So that was a really fun one. I like that one. This one I never shared because I don't love it, but this is using the first Felicity Jane kit that there was, which is called Charlotte. And I used some mist and a mask for the background, and I did some stamping. I think I just mainly don't like the misted background, but other than that, it's okay. But I do love these like little gold confetti pieces. Those are fun. And nothing on the back of that one. And then this one, it feels like summer. So this is another case where I did an L, where there's a strip on one side and then I'm going across on the other side. And then I often balance that with like a little cluster opposite. And so I like to do that. And this is a good way to use a pattern paper that you love, but that's maybe a little overwhelming. You just use a little strip of it, and then you can use a neutral cardstock on the other side, and that way you still get the feel of that whole of that paper. That's really cute, but it doesn't overwhelm everything else, if that makes sense. This is one of my favorite layouts I made this year. This is using a Scraptastic kit also. I think it was the July kit, one of the July kits. And I just cut papers into triangles and place them into a square. This is another fun way to use a bunch of pattern papers that you love. And then I just clustered some other things around my photo in the middle. So I really like the way that one turned out. And I stitched around the outside too. So I may have to scrap lift myself on that one as well. This is another one that I kind of love. I haven't been loving my layouts lately, so I don't know what my deal is, but before I started making videos there were a few that I loved, and I don't know if I'm trying to get things done quicker now that I'm using, that I'm filming, or I don't know what. But I really love this layout. This is my husband and I's 11th anniversary, just a picture of us. I like the sunroof in the background that you can see the sky and stuff. It's just fun. But I journaled down the sides, so that was kind of fun, and then everything is linear, like the title is big and linear down the middle, so that was a fun one to make. This one is just a fun little layout. We Are Memory Keepers makes a cork, like a 6x6 cork pad, and so I used a punch and punched those out of the cork, and then I stamped on them. This is using a Felicity Jane stamp. And I used stamps for the background on this too. I just clear embossed them and then I watercolored over it. So I used a lot of stamping on this page. But that was fun. And then this is, I didn't have any gold paper, but I wanted that gold look. So I just gold heat embossed some paper and used it in my layers. So that was fun. Here's another way that you can add a bunch of photos on one layout. This is my favorite tree of all time. I love this tree. It's not even at my house, it's at my work, and I take pictures of it often. This year we had a little microburst and the tree, half of it got it got cut in half basically. The tree is still kind of hanging on, but I think it's gonna die, so that makes me sad. So I'm glad I made this layout. And then I kind of put a bunch of die cuts in a grid formation with my journaling and my title. And I really like the way that one turned out. And then there's this one. This is another one that I kind of really loved. I think I just love the photo. My daughter was really into collecting different like leaves, and I don't know, she just, like, she's becoming a little botanist or something. So she was collecting things, and what she collected, the colors were just so beautiful. And the kit from Scraptastic for that month, I think it's the June kit. Oh no, this is the July kit. Maybe, I don't know. Don't hold me to any of that. But it just matched so perfectly, and it was just really cute. So that was fun. And then this one I did a process video for. This is a picture of my sister and my daughter. And this is a Scraptastic kit, and I love this layout. Again, with the large photos, I really like doing large photos. So this was a boy kit that I got from Scraptastic, and I thought it was going to be super hard to use, but I ended up making a bunch of layouts that I really loved with it. This is my daughter and my nephew, and then I used a silhouette die cut and then backed some of the pieces with some of the pattern papers and stitched around each one. So it's kind of like a loose chevron pattern, or I really like that one. And then this one. This is another go-to layout for me, is to do a diagonal strip of the paper and then kind of cluster a bunch of stuff right here on the photo. So I love this kind of layout. And that's just a picture of my husband doing this ropes course. This is a layout just using stuff from my stash. And I just used a bunch of pinks and purpley colors and yellow. I love these letter stickers. They are from a sticker sheet by Alison Kreft for Echo Park. I can't remember what line that is, but I love those. And then this layout this was when my nephew was born. He's such a cute little chunk, but he was just brand new that day. Love him. And then this is another one of my favorite layouts this year. So I just cut a big circle out of this. This is another great way to use a bold pattern paper. I cut a circle out of the pattern, and then I backed it with white, and then I just layered all my stuff in the middle of it. And the photo's kind of coming out from the from the circle, and there's a bunch of like little words and stuff. And I really love the way this one turned out. I did a little bit of like misting. This is one of those instances where I got some packaging and put some mist on there, and then I spread it out like Irit Landgraf does. I love that technique. So anyway, that's another one of my favorites. So that is the first half of my year. And like I said, I haven't scrapbooked everything, so there will be more added to this. My second half is a little bit smaller. And here we go. So this was another fun layout. I don't think I used a kit for this, or if I did, I only used little pieces of it. But I watercolored some circles all over the side, and then I had a bunch of stamps that create circles, or I just formed them into that shape and stamped around each one in a gray ink. And then layered some like colored items on them. And I just really love the way that one turned out. Thought that was cute. And this is another Scraptastic kit layout. And again, I did the diagonal, but this time I didn't do it across the whole thing. Sorry, this is probably hard for you to see. I did a little bit up at the top and a little at the bottom. And I like the way that gives a home for the rest of your stuff just goes in the middle. So that was a fun one. This one I never shared because I don't super love the way it turned out. I don't hate it, but this little, maybe I'll just take this off. This little wood veneer world globe or whatever, I put glossy accents on it after I colored it, and I don't know, it just looks weird. But I painted stripes across with different colors of ink, and I got darker as I went down, and then I stamped on them in similar colors. So I like that. And then it's just called We Love Our Bisabuela. That's my grandma, and my daughter calls her Bisa. She's Cuban, so there's that. This one there is a process video on, and I love this layout. It's just a fun one to make, and I cut up that cute crepe paper, notes and things paper, and layered it up at the bottom, so that was fun. This is using that boy kit from Scraptastic again, and this is just an outdoor photo, and it's just really pretty. And you can see I love putting strips on the sides and tops of my layouts. Something that works for me. And I really like the way that these strips look, kind of matting the photo. This is one that's a very recent layout process video that I did. So you can check that out. I just stitched together a bunch of 3x4 cards and journaled inside, and it's just kind of a fun little thing. This is another layout that I really love the way it turned out. This is a picture of me and my nephew when he was still brand new. And I just punched a ton of circles out of different patterned papers, and then I cut them in quarters. I glued them all down, and then I stitched along the middles of where they meet. And I thought that turned out really cute. This is another good way to use up some of those busy patterned papers. And this is probably inspired by, seems like something that Paige, why can't I remember her last name all of a sudden? She works for American Crafts. Anyway, I'll remember it in a minute. But it seems like something she would do. She used to be a garden girl at Two Piece too, and she's on the Studio Calico design team. and her name escapes me. This was a layout just using my stash. I love this one, and I think because I love the photos, but also I had a chance to use some kind of purpley colors, which I don't get to do very often. And I loved that. Do you remember that wildflower collection from Cartabella? That was one of my favorites this year, so I used a little bit of that on here too, and cut out the flowers because I love cutting out flowers, hand cutting stuff out. This one has a process video. This is using a Felicity Jane kit. I like the way that one turned out. This one does not have a process video, but I really wish it did. It was a fun one to make and a nice way to include a bunch of photos in a grid style. What I did was I took some old book pages and I gessoed them onto the background, and then I did a little bit of, I think I used my gelatos to color in a little bit, and I used some modeling paste with a stencil, and then just layered my photos and some different things into the squares. And that one was a really fun one to create. I love that one. So I definitely will scrap lift myself on that one someday. This one has a process video as well. This is using a different Felicity Jane kit, the Claire kit. This one is my most recent process video, so check that one out if you haven't yet. This was a fun experiment with using a mood board, and I love the way the vellum looks draped across that photo. This one, I was the guest designer for Scraptastic one month. I can't remember which month it was, but there are a bunch of layouts that I did for that. This is one of them. I wrote the words to a song by Mindy Gledhill on, I think it's called I'm Gonna Walk 100 Miles, on the background of this layout for my background paper. It just has a really sweet message, and my daughter actually walks around singing it all the time, so it worked perfectly. But it was just fun to do, and then I watercolored in Great Big Plan. So this is just all my handwriting. It's not perfect, and it's a little messy, but I kind of like it. And then just layered a bunch of stuff up. This is another one from that same time frame where I was the Scraptastic designer, that guest designer. And I used a brayer with some Lagoon ink by Close to My Heart, and I just went up the page, and it got lighter as it went on as the ink kind of died off on the brayer, and I really love the way that looks. And that's my cute little nephew. Teeth in Hibernation, that was a funny one. My daughter was talking to him, and my sister was in the car, and she said, "Did you say something?" And my daughter said, "Oh no, Denver and I are just talking about hibernation." And then later she was telling him what it's like to have teeth, so I thought that was really cute. That's why I love to scrapbook. I don't keep up to date on my scrapbooks. I just scrapbook. I do like to scrapbook what's happening right now, but I don't worry about the past because I want to not forget about the things that happen now. And then if I have time or if I have a specific story I want to tell, I will go back and tell that. But I'm not so worried about catching up with all the old photos that I have, so that I don't forget to document the moments like these that I would have forgotten if I hadn't documented. So that was important to me. And then this one is another one from that same month where I was the guest designer. And this was my daughter's first day of school. And she has this little chambray shirt. She called it her pants shirt because it was kind of like denim, and it was just funny. So she wore her pants shirt plus pants to school, and that's what she called it, and it was really cute. This is another one that was from the guest design thing, and I cut out a ton of flowers because that's what I like to do. And this is just a picture of the harvest of we have little strawberry plants. This one is another fun way to use a bunch of photos. So I cut them into triangles. I'm obsessed with clouds, and so I take pictures of them all the time. And this is one of those, I just was like, I need to make a layout about that. So I took a bunch of my cloud photos and I put them all on the same layout, and it was really fun, a fun way to use up those different cards and different pattern papers, and then also include a bunch of photos. So there's that. This is from that same month. This is a couple of pictures of my niece on her birthday. This is a silhouette file that I just created in Silhouette Studio in their software. Maybe someday I'll do a little tutorial on how to do that. It's really easy, especially with simple shapes like this. But I just backed some of them with different pattern papers, and that's a fun way to use them. This one has a process video. This one's recent. So you've seen that. That's just a picture of me on my 30th birthday. Actually, I don't know if that picture is exactly on my 30th birthday, but I turned 30 this year, and that picture is from recent, so it's recent. This is also a recent video where I used a ton of rub-ons. I love the way that one turned out. This one is not on a video. This was a fun mixed media page. I wanted to use up some of those frames that Crate Paper does with a lot of their lines, and I have a ton of them. So I glued a bunch down, and I put some gesso on them, and then I just painted all over the top of them, put a photo in one of them, and I wrote a bunch of things about my husband and his little quirks. So that was a fun one to make. Can you see that whole thing? I think so. This one, I think, was my second process video. So this one does have a process video. This is my little nephew. And this is a different page for me because I didn't use much white, which is weird for me. And then these both have process videos. This was my very first process video. And I used a silhouette die cut as a template. So that was fun. Again, where I do a photo and then I do a little cluster across from it. The one next to it is almost the same layout. This is like one of my go-to layouts. Put the photo, cluster a bunch of stuff, and then put a little something on the top corner. So this has a process video as well. This is one of my stash kit layouts, and there is a process video on this one. All of my process videos are organized in playlists based on what kit it goes to, so you can look them up that way. This is just a bunch of little things that my daughter keeps asking, would you rather do this or do that? She was playing Would You Rather a ton, to the point of I wanted to, it was getting obnoxious, let's just say that. Anyway, this is another one that has a process video. This is more recent. I love the way that this layout turned out. I just put, clustered everything kind of in the center. This one also has a process video. So I think the rest of them have a process video because we're in October now, and that's when I started doing process videos. So the rest of them have process videos. This is using a Felicity Jane kit. I really love the way that this one turned out. It was fun and a little bit different for fall. And then this one where I did some mixed media. I mixed some ink with some modeling paste. I really love that color pink. And then this one using my stash kits. And I just layered a bunch of things together. And again, I did that same technique where I wanted to use a bold paper, so I just put it on the side, a strip of it on the side. And then this one, so I went to Disneyland in November, and I showed an album where, what I did last time when I went to Disneyland. I made a little mini album, and I'm trying to decide right now. I thought I was going to do that again, but I've been loving so much making pages and not so much making mini albums that I might just make a bunch of layouts. And this photo is from Disneyland. It's not a Disney picture, but it's while we were there. And so I'm toying with the idea of just making a full-size album because I like doing 12 by 12 layouts better, but we'll see. I'll keep you informed. And then this is the last, oh no, there's two. So this is using a Felicity Jane kit as well. I love this. Just kind of everything clustered in the middle. It's still kind of an L shape, but it's just a little bit smaller. So, and then last but not least, this photo of my daughter when I didn't have a winter coat for her and I felt bad. This has a process video, and just layering up some different things. This is from a Scraptastic kit from, I think it was November's kit. So that was fun. So those are my two albums from this year. Like I said, I haven't scrapbooked all the photos from this year yet, so there will likely be more. But I just wanted to share with you, and I hope to see some of your favorite layouts and favorite things that you made this year on your, whether you share it in a process video or if you're part of the Nicole Jones Facebook group, if you share it there. I'm excited to see what everyone's sharing. So thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you later.